Hello, happy Friday. Hope you're well. Hope you've had a good day. And I also hope you had a good week and it's not been too much of a washout as far as the weather goes, because the weather's been pretty boring and dull and wintry. I know it's winter, I get it, but I don't like the winter. Winter does nothing for me. And it's literally scuppered my walks with the dogs a bit as well, because where I go walking there's a river and the river's burst its banks and literally taking away pathways to get to fields that I need to get to and stuff like that, so it's quite frustrating. Anyway, never mind, we're at the weekend again, thank goodness. I mean, this week I bet so many people, I know in fact that so many people have dreaded this week because of a lot of you gone back to work and back to everyday normality after a whole bubble of staying at home throughout Christmas and the New Year and everything else. So I feel it with you. So it's been kind of interesting week really. I think I'm happy that it's the new year. I'm always happy in the new year. I'm always happy that it is a new year, because I think it's a new year and it's all fresh and new and lovely, and I love that. I just don't like the winter. Who does though? I mean, I suppose some people do, don't they? I am waffling, aren't I? Okay, let's get on with it. The video today I'm doing about sort of ghosts and hauntings and such like around the world. And in this sort of series, and should I call it a series? Yeah, I'm going to call it a series. This series I'm going to be doing extra parts to, so look out for more parts to go after this one. Also, I'll also be doing more ghosts and hauntings around the UK at some point as well, so I'm going to just kind of mix it up. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I'll stop going on, I'll stop waffling, and let's get on the video and let's go watch it. Situated along the River Nile, close to Luxor, the Valley of the Kings is one of the most known and important sites in Egypt. The valley was a burial ground for pharaohs from 16th to the 11th century BC. It really only gained attention around the world when Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered in 1922. The excavation of his tomb was funded by an English aristocrat, Lord Carnarvon, who died of infections shortly after the burial site was discovered. This then caused rumours of a pharaoh's curse that inspired works of fiction and the Mummy sequels a century later. The Valley of the Kings is plagued by paranormal activities during the night. This site has been a burial site for the hundreds of pharaohs and noble Egyptians. Today, visitors of the Valley of the Kings sometimes claim to see an image of an Egyptian pharaoh riding a chariot pulled by ghostly black horses. Some have even heard strange noises, including footsteps, screams and shuffling without any sources. Watchmen of the Valley of the Kings have reported seeing figures and screeching and screaming voices at night. Like the Pyramid of Gaza, many archaeologists died in very mysterious ways and untimely deaths. It's said that Tutankhamun's tomb site is cursed, and anyone that messes with it will be a victim of the mummy's curse. What's even more frightening than a haunted graveyard? Probably a graveyard that's 50 feet underwater. Yep, welcome to Chuuk Lagoon in the South Pacific Ocean. It served as a base for the Japanese Navy during the World War II and was attacked by American forces during a 3-day airstrike in 1944. Dozens of warships, planes, tanks and railroad cars sank to the bottom of the lagoon, where they remain today in what is known as the Ghost Fleet of the Chuuk Lagoon. This underwater graveyard is extremely popular with scuba divers. Some say it's the best wreck diving destination on the planet. Underwater explorers can swim up close to wartime vessels which are littered with weapons, gas masks, and according to some superstitious divers, a few waterlogged ghosts. Divers exploring the sunken wrecks have reported some strange things. These phenomena include sudden drops in temperature, mysterious currents, and an eerie sensation of being watched. Some claim to have encountered apparitions of floating sailors or heard whispers in the depths. Originally built in 1352, the St George's Church has quite the history. It's located about 125 miles east of Prague. The building has survived nearly being destroyed by many fires in its time, and its roof actually partially collapsed during a funeral service in 1968. After that, people said the building was haunted and refused to enter it again, leaving the place subject to burglaries and vandalism. In 2012 though, that changed when an art student at the University of West Bohemia had an idea of how to get visitors back to the church. So a collection of 30 ghost sculptures sitting in pews with their heads bowed appeared. Today, tourists flock to see the ghost church, to snap photos and even sit among the unmoving spectres while praying. The church is open to the public every Saturday afternoon. The art student who made them explained how he made the figures. He said, "I decided to make figurative sculptures from plaster, which means getting the help of models who you prepare to cast. In my case, the models were fellow students. I did one cast in the church itself, but after that I made a copy of the bench or pew and cast the sculptures at the school, which means wrapping the model in plastic and a raincoat to protect their skin, then adding different textures dipped in plaster to create the overall shape of their hoods. A single statue, with a little luck, took around half an hour to complete. He raised enough money from his ghost to install a new roof, so if you're ever nearby, definitely go and see his ghost for yourself." Built somewhere between the 13th and late 15th century, the castle has seen plenty of deaths in its time. Legend has it, during a struggle for power within the O'Carroll clan, who they also had a fondness for poisoning their dinner guests, by the way, one member plunged a sword into his brother, who was also a priest, as he was holding mass in the castle's chapel. The room is now called the Bloody Chapel, and the priest is said to haunt the church at night. But that's not all. According to the Leap Castle website, in the early 1900s, during some renovation work, some workmen found a secret dungeon in the Bloody Chapel with so many human skeletons that they filled 3 cartloads when they were taken away. The dungeon was designed so that prisoners would fall through the trapdoor, have their lungs punctured by wooden spikes on the ground, and die a slow, horrific death within earshot of the sinister clan of members above. Now you can't tell me that place isn't haunted. In fact, one of the castle's beings was named It because nobody knows what it is. It's the size of a sheep with a decaying face. It's believed that you know when it is near, as you can smell the decaying corpse-like smell. There's also meant to be an elemental. Now, elementals are believed to occur when they attach themselves to a particular place. When the castle's ownership was transferred to the Darbys, Mildred Darby dabbled in the occult, as it was the fashion then during the day. It was widely believed that during Mildred's dabbling of the occult, it was resulted in the awakening of the elementals. Mildred Darby even wrote about her frightening ordeal back in 1909. She was standing in the gallery when she felt somebody put a hand on her shoulder. When she turned around, she saw a thing about the size of a sheep with a gaunt, inhuman face. It had black cavities for eyes and the smell of the decomposing corpse. The Darbys remained in the castle until 1922. Today, the castle's dungeon is covered to keep people away from it. Sean Ryan has owned the castle since 1991, and he's undergone several restoration works to bring the castle back to its former glory. On 6th of May 1856, Thomas Whaley began construction on his new home and proclaimed, "My new house, when completed, will be the most handsomest, most comfortable and most convenient place in town or within 150 miles of here." The two-storey Greek Revival house was designed by Thomas Whaley and made from bricks created in Whaley's very own brickyard on Conn Street. Furnished with mahogany and rosewood furniture, Brussels carpets, and costing more than $10,000 upon completion, the Whaley house was overwhelmingly praised as a first of its kind and the finest home in Southern California. Shortly after the Whaley family moved in, they told the San Diego Union that they heard heavy footsteps in the house, which they believed to be the ghost of James Yankee Jim Robinson, who had earlier been hanged on the property for stealing a boat. It wasn't long after the Whaley family moved into the home that sadness and despair were thrust upon them. First, their young son Thomas, who was only 18 months old, died of scarlet fever inside the house. Then a few months later, a fire raged within the home, destroying the general store. Soon after, Thomas decided to move the family to San Francisco. Several years later, in 1868, the Whaley family, which now included Thomas, his wife, and their 5 children, returned to the home. Over the years, many of the Whaley family lived and died in the house, including Thomas, Anna, and their children, Lillian, Thomas, Violet, and Francis. During this restoration period, which took place several different times throughout the home's history, workers and visitors began to notice strange and mysterious sounds, sights, aromas, and encounters. The first and most well-known ghost that lingered within the house and on the grounds was that of Yankee Jim Robinson, as he had died right on the spot where the home was built. Mists, lights turning on and off by themselves, crystals of the lamp in the music room swinging by themselves. These are all signs that the Whaley house still belongs to the many who call it their home over the years. It is known to be the most haunted house in America. Akihara, also known as the Sea of Trees, is a forest on the northwestern flank of Mount Fuji on the island of Honshu in Japan. The western edge, where there are several caves that fill with ice in the winter, is a popular destination for tourists and school trips. Parts of Akihara are very dense, and the porous lava rock absorbs sound, contributing to a sense of solitude that some visitors attribute to the forest. The forest is known to be haunted and has a historic reputation as home to ghosts of the dead in Japanese mythology. Since the 1960s, it's been known for suicide, gaining the nickname the Suicide Forest, and being known as the most famous suicide sites. Because of this, signs at the start of the trails in the forest urge suicidal visitors to think of their families and to get help. In 2003, 105 bodies were found in the forest, exceeding the previous record of 78 in 2002. In 2010, the police recorded 54 confirmed suicides out of more than 200 attempts. It's no wonder that people reported seeing spirits wandering around these forests, their lost souls floating in between the trees. It's such a sad place to be, and if you're feeling like the world has nothing left for you, please do always talk to someone if you're in need. The world needs you in it. In October 2007, the National Trust of England named Blickling Hall the most haunted home in the country. Located in Norfolk, England, the stately house has a special guest stop by every spring. Now, Blickling Hall was one of Anne Boleyn's homes as a young girl. Boleyn was the second of Henry VIII's wives. Obsessed with having a male heir to the throne, Henry consequently divorced Catherine of Aragon, his first wife, because none of the males she gave birth to have survived. He gave it a go with Anne Boleyn, who also failed to produce a son. To arrange his second divorce, the king cooked up adultery charges against Boleyn that stuck. Her punishment of allegedly cheating on one of the world's most powerful men at that time was death. On May the 19th, 1536, Anne Boleyn was beheaded. Now, every year on the anniversary of her execution, Boleyn's headless ghost reportedly arrives at Blickling Hall in a carriage drawn by a headless horseman. But she hasn't lost her head completely in the afterlife. She carries it along with her during her hauntings. Now, ghost hunters around the world are always trying to catch a spirit on camera or a voice on their EVP. We'd all love to know for real if the afterlife exists, yeah? Right? Luckily, there are hundreds of reportedly haunted places that are open for public tours or even overnight stays. No matter where you are in the world, there's probably a haunted house or a haunted hotel nearby. It's just waiting for you to visit. If you've visited any places that you'd like to share with me, please contact me on my link and I'll be happy to read out some of your experiences on my podcast and even on here.
Hope you enjoyed it. What did you think? Did you like it? I know this one was a bit short, but that's because this week I've kind of left it a bit late to be researching and stuff. I left it a bit late, and that's because obviously, with New Year and everything else, my husband was off and, and all of that, so I've been spending time with him, and then I had to go, we got my son come home yesterday, and so obviously we're trying to spend time with it, so it's just been, one of them weeks. So hopefully next week I'll be back on it and I'll get more research done and I'll find out more stuff, and hopefully you'll find it a bit more interesting. So, yes, Friday, what are you up to? Doing anything? Got any plans for the weekend? I don't know what I'm doing, to be fair. Possibly go and see my parents at some point. I probably should do that. Other than that, not a lot. Don't know what, depends what the weather's like, doesn't it? If it's going to be dry, because I'm thinking it's meant to be dry next week, and if it's going to be dry, I might just get my car washed, because I'm going to not get it washed. I wash it. I never ever take it to a car wash. No, I wash it. So I might wash it myself, so it depends on the weather. Anyway, here we go again, waffling. Could you imagine living with me all the time? I feel sorry for all the people that live with me, because I do this a lot. I just waffle on about nothing. Yeah, anyway, never mind. That's just me, I'm afraid. Yeah, have yourself a great day. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming back and sticking by me, and I'll see you again on the next one if I don't see you before. Take care of yourselves. See you later. Bye bye.